Moodz616 sucks fucking dick. What a fucking asshole, man. I met him at Wasteland. Fucking dickhead. Goddamn. Fuck him, man. Fuck. It looks.
A tisket, a tasket, a bloody basket. Cut his head and ate his leg. Now he's in a casket.
Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another random horror review. I'm your host Moodz616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Alrighty, yeah, it is episode 15 in my random horror reviews, and I got another one here for midnight releasing. And this one here is brand new. It's from 2015. I think it recently just came out. This one's starring one of my favorite scream queens of all time, Debbie Rochon. She's just been in tons and tons of films, very, very well known in throughout, horror community and in horror films. And yeah, from 2015, and it is Axe to Grind. Yeah, Axe to Grind. When I first saw this title, I thought it said Axe to the Grind, but it doesn't. There's no the in there, which is strange. I don't know how I read Axe to the Grind. I don't know. But Axe to Grind, starring Debbie Rochon. Getting into the plot of this one. It basically centers around your main character, Debbie Rochon. She kind of plays herself in this film. She plays a character named Debbie Wilkins. She's kind of getting older. She's a little washed up. She plays a scream queen, of course. And of course, one day she comes home and she's married to a big horror director / producer. He's a big mogul in the industry. Anyway, she comes home one day only to find that he is not in love with her anymore. He's basically sleeping with a young 23-year-old up-and-coming scream queen. And so, of course, Debbie doesn't take this very lightly. She gets really, really pissed off because now she's basically out on her own ass. And she doesn't understand why, So, her husband has a new film that's in the making. It's called Scintillanting. Anyway, she shows up on this movie set, all pissed off, of course, because she's been kind of replaced in her own bed, only to find out when she gets to the studio that she might even be replaced in the film by a young and up-and-coming scream queen type. So basically, she kind of loses her mind and devises a plan to get revenge on everybody that is on the movie set, and of course, her husband also. So that is your main story right there. I'll just leave it right there. Now, my thoughts on this one. Now, with a storyline like that, it seems a little weak, a little cliched. It's not really the strongest thing in the world. It's basically kind of your average run-of-the-mill kind of revenge story. It still has a lot of this film still has a lot of promise to it. I think Debbie Rochon does a pretty decent job in this. I gotta say though, some of her acting in the film was kind of hit and miss with me a little bit. Now, Debbie Rochon can be decent at times and not so good in other films, but this one right here, I found it was, at the start of the film, her acting was kind of weak, and then towards the end, it got a little better. Of course, this film does have a little bit of satire in it. Of course, she's kind of playing herself, poking fun at herself a little bit and stuff. So I think that maybe kind of added to the way she was acting in the film a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. The overall acting in the film is kind of hit and miss again. Some of the characters are pretty decent. Some of the girls are like whatever, Most of the characters in the film are very unlikable, except for the director on the film that she's working on. I really like that guy. He was actually pretty funny. But basically what it comes down to with a weak kind of story and cliched story like that, you need really good kills to save a film like this. Now, with that said, the kills aren't overly the worst in this film, but they're not the best either. They're okay. I think there's about 95% practical effects in this, maybe a little bit of CG blood, which is odd. I always find that very odd when you have so much practical effects and you have like a CG, blood spray or something like that. I find that pretty weird sometimes. But for the most part, the effects are actually not too bad. But the kills are just they're kind of straightforward and not that exciting, which kind of sucks because, I was like, well, the storyline's not the greatest, the kills are going to have to save this. But, overall, with all that said, it was still actually kind of an entertaining watch. There was a lot of pretty funny dialogue that wasn't like over the top funny and silly, but it was just, it was kind of fitting for the moment and what was going on with the revenge and things like that. It was still entertaining to say the least. Nothing that special about this one, but, you know, overall it wasn't terrible at all. There's not really a whole lot to say about this one without giving anything away. Of course, this film isn't without its twists and turns also, which is kind of interesting. At the same time, I wasn't 100% sure that I kind of guessed, you know, possibly what could happen and stuff, but, you know, that's probably due to watching thousands of films. But yeah, no, not a terrible film by any means. I think Debbie Rochon, like, it's just definitely not her, you know, it's not her top par performance of all time, that's for sure. But, you know, she still was pretty decent in the film. But if I had to rate this one, I'm going to give it a solid 6 out of 10. Like I said, you know, the storyline not the greatest, you know, the kills weren't the greatest, but it was still overall very, very entertaining and still worth the watch, actually. So, Axe to Grind, you know, for midnight releasing. This one, again, doesn't have any special features on it, so nothing to report there, but, you know, at least this film had, you know, an abundance of hot chicks in it. Like, all the girls that were in this film were really good looking, you know, and they weren't the most unlikable characters, they just weren't the most likable characters, you know, of course, because they're bitchy scream queens and stuff. But yeah, Axe to Grind, not really a whole lot to say about it. It's okay, but yeah, 2015, maybe give it a rent or something like that. It's not the worst thing in the world. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for episode 15 here, and I hope to see you guys back in episode 16. Yeah, see you then, guys. Peace out.